Hey guys, let's say bringing you another video now. There'll probably be some random league footage in the background, but this is a league discussion and we're probably just going to mainly cover one topic, and that is apparently the new dodging situation that's going on. So for those that don't know, they're updating the dodge tool to deter dodging. Now, it's been kind of controversial. I've waited a little while to talk about it, but it seems it is still potentially going ahead. But, you know, just to say, what is dodging? Just get the premise out there. Dodging is when, especially in ranked, you're in champion select, and for whatever reason, you don't want to play the game. It could be, you know, you don't get your champion, you don't get a favorable matchup, your team, you think your comp versus their comp, it's pointless, so you quit the game. Now, what this does is it loses you LP, and it also puts your timer of when you can requeue on cooldown. So over how it works right now is you lose 3 LP for your first dodge of the day, and then it goes to a 5-minute cooldown. That's the first one. Some people like me, it's rare for me to dodge games, so I don't even use my daily 3 LP only dodge. It's lucky if I probably dodge once a week, let alone once a day. But then after your first dodge a day, it then goes to 10 LP loss, and then a half an hour queue. And then your third one, I think it's roughly the same. Now, this system is being updated to be much harsher in the way of not really the LP, it's more the time. So I will say there are some people in, and we will kind of talk about this more, but there are some people that dodge a lot. And the LP isn't really the problem because really good players don't care about LP. It's not about LP, it's all about MMR. That matchmaking rating, that hidden number that we'll probably never know ourselves. That hidden number is more important than your LP. Obviously, LP is the shiny little thing that's on your profile, but in the background, your MMR is like giving you your LP and LP gains and losses, your opponents on your team and the enemy team. That's all the MMR. And dodging does nothing to the MMR. So if you dodge tactically, you're protecting your MMR because you're not losing unnecessary games. And yeah, you're losing some LP, but in the grand scheme of things, it probably helps you climb. That's what a lot of people said about dodging throughout history. So what is the change that they are asking and, you know, well, not asking, they're doing? So it's still going to be the same, I think, for dodge 1 and 2. Still going to be a 3 LP hit and then 5-minute queue time, and then a 10 LP hit, 30-minute queue time for dodge 2. Dodge 3, however, is going to be a 10 LP hit. Oh, it's about the same, but then a 12-hour queue. And yeah, I've said that correct. A 12-hour queue for your third dodge of the day. So why are they doing this, first and foremost? They are doing this to deter dodging. And we'll say if that's a relatively good or bad thing, because I will say there's positives and negatives on both sides. Yes, I do think Riot is doing this and ignoring the actual bigger issues, which we will get into. But they are doing it because, basically, like we mentioned earlier, dodging probably on average helps you climb. And right now, there is people that track dodges. There's like I don't know if it's more as a joke, but it's legit and it's tracking that there is an EU West dodge ladder for Master and above. And people post that every now and then, and there are people that would dodge over 50 times a week. Literally 50 times a week. That's an insane amount. And, you know, these are some of the highest rating players in the game. And they will dodge 50 times a week. So it's more to deter that type of behavior. Like, to be honest, dodging is annoying. Like, today have been streaming. I have streamed, I think, for nearly 7 hours today. Probably about 5.5 of that was League, and then the others was Call of Duty. But for about 5.5 hours was League. I probably spent at least half an hour to an hour of that in waiting for games when dodges have happened. Like, we had a lot of dodges, and that just is a common thing nowadays. Dodging is part of solo queue, and I think Riot haven't loved that. And, you know, Riot, you'd like to think Riot doesn't do changes, or they don't do changes for no reason. They probably have evidence of, like, oh, someone got dodged a couple times. They instead of still playing the game, they just stopped playing for the day. It's like, dude, I've had 3 champion selects to dodge me. I can't be bothered for this. I've been half an hour in queue without a game. I'm just not going to play any. And obviously, Riot want people to play games. So they're trying to limit how much dodging is occurring. But the negatives, you know, the positives is that dodges are annoying. I think most people would agree. And that's practically, in my head, the only good thing about this is, oh, less dodges. That's kind of, you know, a good thing in some areas. But do I think this change is positive or negative? I think this is overall insanely negative. And that's speaking for someone that I don't dodge. I'm known to not dodge games. I just partially can't be bothered, and I don't care enough to want to dodge games. But I overall think this is a really bad change for a few reasons. So the first thing is it doesn't actually fix any of the actual problems or why people dodge. Like today, you'll see, maybe would have already seen, I'm uploading a game that I played in Nivea, and the enemy team, and thankfully they were on the enemy team, had a troll duo that they both picked Ghost and Cleanse, and can guarantee they did that to try and force dodging occurring. So that problem, arguably, isn't that going to just get worse? So imagine if you've dodged 2 games and then you don't get, your champion. You're now screwed and you now can't dodge because there's going to be a 12-hour queue. Isn't that going to just incentivize people to try and make other people dodge more? Like, in my mind, that's what that's only going to do. And, if you don't dodge, then you just get a free loss. Like, great. So it doesn't fix the actual issue. So within Champion Select, toxicity in Champion Select, role stealing, people picking Ghost and Cleanse and trolling, just straight out trolling, none of those issues are addressed by this. And if they wanted to stop dodging, I think first you have to fix the cause, the toxicity, the trolling, arguably, and they're a bit controversial, but arguably a lot of dodging and stuff happens because of one tricks or mains don't get their champions. And obviously worth also noting, this whole change is arguably going to affect those people the most. Mains or one tricks, especially the higher rating you go, they really only can play one thing because that's what they've locked themselves into in Master or Challenger. So they only play that one thing. It's been banned. What are they going to do now? Like, before they would just dodge. Like, these people that I've said they dodge 50 times a week, a lot of them are the one tricks because their champ gets banned. So what are you going to make those people do? Either you're going to make those people play champions that they really shouldn't be playing because they now can't dodge. Secondly, it's either going to force them to troll a bit more to try and force champion select dodges. Or thirdly, okay, they still dodge, they take the 12-hour queue time. Well, now you're just going to have an influx of more Smurfs. And obviously, I'm okay with Smurfs because I make Smurf content, but I think I can say quite easily, majority of the average player base hates Smurfs. All that's going to do is make a lot of people make more Smurfs because, oh, my main account's on a 12-hour queue time. I have to go on a different account if I want to keep playing. And then what if then that person again is one-tricking, they have to dodge 3 times on that account as well in a day. They have to then have another account that they could have? You might have to have 2 or 3 accounts actively to avoid all these queue times to keep playing League, which is kind of nuts. So that's the thing that I would say. Overall, this is a weird change that Riot isn't addressing the actual problems. It's like, oh, we've heard that you guys don't like dodging. Here's a band-aid fix to it that doesn't really do much. But you can't dodge as much anymore, or dodging shouldn't be much of a problem. It's still going to be a problem. It's still going to exist. But this change is just going to punish people for some of the wrong reasons. So that's where I kind of stand on it. Because yeah, what the positive, the in my mind, the genuine only positive that I can really think of is the fact that dodging is annoying. You know, you get your nice team comp. Oh, it's looking good, and boom, it's a dodge. It's almost guaranteed that if you're in Champion Select nowadays and your comp, you can just tell, oh, our comp is better than the enemy team's. It's a dodge. Like, you just know someone on the enemy team is going to dodge the game. And that sucks. So maybe that would deter this from happening or that from happening, because people do underestimate Champion Select, picking and having a nice comp. That's part of the game. That's part of the skill. If you're somebody that plays a bit of an obscure champion and your team comp is always at a disadvantage because of your pick, like, that's because you're picking something weird. And an actual skill to the game is picking champions that, synergize well together and have a nice comp, and it's going to work well. And I will say that right now doesn't really exist that much because of the dodging problem. So that, I say, is a bit of a positive, that if there's less dodges, it does mean Champion Select is important and you can outpick people, where right now those games just get dodged instantly. But other than that, I think mostly it's a negative. I think it's just going to make more trolling occur in Champion Select. It's going to make more hostage taking in Champion Select happen. It's going to make more Smurfs, which, again, I don't mind, but I think the community minds quite a bit. So, I don't know. Like, I just thought I'd make this video because I imagine there's a bunch of people that are a little bit like, they didn't know this was happening. Like, let me know, do you dodge? I personally don't, but do you? Maybe that's why I'm a bit more affected by dodging in annoyance by it, because I myself don't dodge. So it's like, oh, really? But then again, I'm quite a flexible player. I don't main or one trick or anything, so I'm quite flexible in that regard. So maybe that's also why. But let me know what you think down below. Thought I'd just do this as a little quick league discussion video. You know, a little, I'll call it like a one-shot league discussion about the topic. Get some, you know, noise about it. I guess, we can actually do a little extra topic, actually, while I think about it. The other topic is, even though, and you know, we all somewhat criticize Rioters every now and then for weird decisions. The head of the Riot Balance team, Mark Yetter, I think his name is, he is leaving. So I believe he's actually going to go join the MMO team. And it is worth knowing a lot of the big hit Rioters have joined the MMO team. They've left League of Legends and they've joined the MMO team. I'm not too surprised because it's the more exciting project. And when you're someone of seniority and you can leave, like you have the power just to put yourself into a different game, you probably do that. But that does mean we're going to be getting a new head of balance very soon. In June is when they are estimated to start. What is something that I would be hoping that I want the new head of balance to do? Now, the reason why I'm hopeful for a new head of balance, and it's worth also noting, I don't have any personal animosity to Mark Yetter, if that's how I pronounce his name. You know, whenever he tweets something, I hope he ignores the replies, because all it is, and, you know, I don't mean to bring up the sword topic, if you just look at his replies, it's just one tricks, content creators who play one champion complaining about their champion being nerfed or buffed or why is it not there. That's all it is, and it's so tiring. So I do feel for him in that regard, and it's not an easy job to balance the game. And he, I don't think, personally made the new items, and I imagine that only made his job harder because these items, a lot of them are crazy. But what would I hope? So the reason why I'm hopeful is when you're someone that is new to the job, a lot of the time you'd want to make an impression. I am the new head of balance. These are the problems in the game. Let's get the ball rolling. Let's make some change. So that's what I'm hoping is going to happen. Whether it actually does or not, I'm not sure. So I would hope that there's going to be some type of like overview that whoever it is, let's say they hire Riot Bob, and Riot Bob is now the head of balance. I would hope for an article from Riot Bob that will kind of go, hi, this is me. Let's collect some feedback and let's get like a chat, a conversation going about what everybody believes the problems are. Like an open communication line, I think is always like healthy. And then I'd actually want them to address it. So for you, what is your major problems with League of Legends right now? For me, I still would call League of Legends League of one shot. Like the skill expression to the game has definitely gone down because you just get one shot by everything. And I'd say it's got better. At the beginning of the season, it literally was League of one shot. It's still too high damage, but I'd want that to be toned down even more. Just reminding everybody, skill expression goes up when the overall damage in the game goes down, because every bit of damage matters when you're not doing 1,000,000 damage. When you're doing 1,000,000, you don't even have to hit your full combo to kill people in some instances nowadays, because the damage is just so high. So I'd want the damage to come down. I would personally, and this is just a personal one, like to see a review of the new items, the mythic items specifically. Is it successful? Is it not successful? And what I want that to be judged upon is not item diversity. Now, I don't know if that was Riot Yetter, or Mark Yetter, sorry. I don't know if that was his thing, or was that the item teams? I don't know who made it their goal to have item variety in League, of every item has to be like perfectly okay in every single game, or whatever they're trying to go for. I'm not sure that's ever going to work. And that's where my pessimism of that type of system does come in. And that comes from history of video games. It's not just League, it's World of Warcraft, it's other games. Perfect balance is near on impossible. So I would say a overview and like a research bit that they could do. Is it healthy? Is it good to do? So that's something that I would like. And then finally, if I went with 3... Well, 4 actually. LP gains, you know, maybe a little check if LP gains are better or worse. Is it working in the back end? Because it's still somewhat a little bit funky for a lot of people. And then finally, I still think healing could be looked at. Lifesteal specifically, Omnivamp. Was Omnivamp a good idea, good or bad idea? Those will be my 4. And that's what I would like the new head of balance to kind of look at and just see. But I would definitely hope, instead of like my individual things, I definitely want whoever they hire to be, I would love an open communication that, hey, it's me, we're going to be doing change, we're going to be looking at making the game healthier, and I'd like them to be kind of proactive about it. I wouldn't want the person to be hired and then we don't hear anything. It's like, nothing changed. I do want to feel like there's a new head of balance is kind of the point that I'm trying to make. But yeah, that's just a little extra add-on topic for you guys. But if you enjoyed this little extra not Q&A, but league discussion, do throw a like on the video, throw a comment, throw a subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.